Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. So, um, this is going to be a little bit different than I normally do, but, um, I'm a big believer in changing things up a bit and giving fun entertainment, and I also believe I'm a very, very, very strong believer in doing things, doing new things, and seeing what happens. So, anywho, so before YouTube was a thing, right? Because YouTube came out around like '05 and or '06, somewhere around there. I have said multiple times I'm a 90s baby. I was born in 1996 and I am going to be 30 very, very, very soon. So, and and it is my 10-year YouTube anniversary. Anywho, I just kind of wanted to dive deep into and give you guys a little preview of my YouTube journey and whatnot so far. Anywho, so, and if you guys hear a cat, that's my nephew's cat meowing in the background. So sorry if you have to hear that. I have to hear it too. Anywho, um, so when I was a little kid, right, about I want to say two, like really little, like when I was a baby, I was obsessed with Barney and Blue's Clues. I'll get into my own Blue's Clues situation a little bit later, but um, I am the middle child out of seven. My dad has six. My mother has four. I'm the middle. I'm the second oldest out of all of them, and my dad recently got married not that long ago to my stepmother, and the only stepmother that really truly counts. I could care less, or I couldn't care about my mother's so-called wife. um Anywho, um but um anywho, what the heck? Anywho, um my so my parents separated when I was really little. Um, and some of the fond memories I have are like we playing cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians, playing wrestling. I recently spoke to my uncle, one of my uncles, and on video chat, and he was like, he his he was like, his kid reminds me of me when I was about like 5, 6 years old, because I was the type of kid who would want to wrestle all the time, and I was born right when the Attitude Era literally started and began. I was born during I pretty much grew up in and around and with the Attitude Era. Um and I guess if you are or were born during the Attitude Era, that kind of shapes who you are. Just like if you were born during um the in the territory days, just like if you were born around during the um WWF new generation golden age of wrestling type of days, that kind of shapes your who you are as a wrestling fan or a fan of entertainment or whatever. Now, when I was about 3 or 4, I was the type of kid. I was not your usual typical kid, okay? I I like to go to the like dress up area and like the costume area or whatever, and pretend that I was a cop, a doctor, a chef, a fireman, whatever. Whatever they had, they I wanted to try it on. Also, I had a speech impediment, okay? I had a speech impediment. And I literally found my I pretty much literally found my voice through dressing up in costumes or just having fun, you know? And, you know, it's alright. It's alright. And that's one thing I want to have you guys know is that I love having fun, but also I like to be serious sometimes. So, you gotta have a good you gotta have balance, you know? Um However, I I do I do enjoy a, having balance in my life. You know, um, my thing is everything now has been majorly politic politicalized, and I could care less about political agendas or politicalness or whatever. I just want to give you guys my honest opinions and tell funny jokes. That's it. That's and have fun. But also sometimes you gotta be serious, you know. Anywho, so so yeah, when I was 3 or 4, because there's not a lot I remember about the first 2 years of my early days. I remember playing cops and robbers and cowboys and Indians growing up during the early days of the Attitude Era. Going to like speech therapy and OT, and I have I my muscles tend to like tighten up whenever I'm like stressed or like nervous and whatnot. Or like sometimes I have trouble like I my like joints, like my fingers tend to tighten up um uncontrollably, and you know I've always had that problem. um but also I was a very picky eater. I did not like to eat my meat. I was kind of forced into having to eat my meat for like the first 7 years of my life. And I liked, I mostly like to eat my sides, you know, and leave the meat whenever we had meat, you know. Also, when it came to spaghetti, I would eat that crap up. I love spaghetti. I love spaghetti. Um, but anywho, also also another thing, I have had a very unique spiritual encounter. I've had several spiritual encounters with the supernatural and or paranormal. Um, one of them being when I was about like 3 or 4, getting woken up by a ghost dog when I was like 3 or 4 years old. And another time, I had gotten woken up by what felt like something watching me. And in one of my like childhood homes, I woke up and saw this like red thing, a like hovering over me on my ceiling just watching me. And that creeped me out. And ever since then, I've been obsessed with the paranormal shows like Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, um, and anything paranormal hunting related. So that's pretty much that. And when when I was about like 4 or 5, me and my mom and mm, my siblings would either walk or take a cab to places. And one of the times we went, we took a walk to McDonald's. I believe either we walked there or we took a cab there. I'm not 100% sure. Anywho, I we got to McDonald's, and like this was like when like McDonald's was like had those like tents, like those red tents in the play places, um, which are very rare nowadays. Like not a lot of people um not a lot of McDonald's still have play places. So if you come across a play place and you have fond memories of going to a play place, a McDonald's with a play place, I I I envy you. um, but all seriousness, I like the first 10 years of my life, I grew um a lot. Um, I I was also the type of kid who would get punished a lot. If I was not being punished, I would probably I if I was not getting punished for something my sister or brother did, or bla- put on blamed on me, or just whatever, I would get my ass beat no matter what. Even if I did do something or didn't do anything, I would get my ass beat by my mom. Um, and, um, anyways, getting back to McDonald's, um, my sister Dallas, who's like maybe 2, 3 years old, um, at the time, was like, she loved McDonald's. I'm a Burger King kind of guy. When it comes to fast food, I love a good Burger King. Okay, Burger King is the shit. Okay, for me, Burger King is the goat for me. Anywho, funny enough, I worked at McDonald's and a Wendy's, but would still get food at both places, but also Burger King. Anywho, uh, Um, but that's in the next video. Um, Also, I got bullied as a kid for whatever reason. So a lot of my entertainment and my coping mechanisms was TV. Um Movies and TV shows. Like I would literally come home from school, put on TV, morning before school TV shows. Also, oddly enough, I was the type of kid. I know this is crazy. I was the kid who enjoyed watching infomercials. I I was that weird kid who loved watching infomercials. I was obsessed with infomercials a lot growing up. Um, which is weird. But, you know, to each their own. Um, Also, I grew up watching Power Rangers, even though I grew up I grew up watching all Power Rangers. Even if it kind of hard for me to find years down the line. Um, but um, we didn't really have me and my siblings didn't really have family time together. Like we didn't really have family nights whatsoever. All that much because my mother would send me, my brother, and my sister away every chance she could get. Um, and um, yeah. Also, like, it is what it is. I am who I am, and no matter how much my mother tried to change me, and force me to do things, I'm still into superheroes. I'm still into Power Rangers. I still want to dress up. I just don't have the money or the funds to dress up and be costume be in costumes and buy costumes cuz that I really want to buy and do cuz I've always wanted to dress up and be an actor. Um also also in elementary school there were a lot of plays and stuff like that, and I loved doing um those winter performances, those spring performances, those fall performances, whatever. Um I enjoyed doing those things. Even though my mother never showed up to any of those except for once for like maybe two things. Um but that's gonna be in the next video. Um the first 10 years, right? From 1996 to '06, right? I was bullied. And I dealt with racism. Um, which I don't really like to talk too much about because I've had I've had a fair share of racism or dealt with racism. I've had bullies just straight up hate me for being white. Like, I've had one bully literally say, I don't like you because what you've done or what your people have done. Like, what? My people? Like, what does that have to do with me? You know? Also, I've had a racist teacher. I've had a couple racist teachers. Um, or a few racist teachers. But the coolest teacher I've also had some nice cool teachers. Like when I was in first grade, right? I had this teacher who got pregnant or was pregnant and had a baby. Don't know where she is now or what happened to her. But the substitute teacher was pretty cool. Enjoyed him. Also, I had this I had this awesome art teacher uh, in 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 elementary school who would say any time, and I do mean any time I wanted to go up and tell him something, whatever was on my mind, right? It would be like, that is full of baloney. You are full of baloney. And he would be like, you're funny, Kevin. You're funny. Also, I think he's probably dead now, but um, he made me enjoy being an artist. He made me enjoy art in all forms. Um, Also, I had a music teacher who in in middle school, not in middle school, in I want to say kindergarten, we learned the song Yellow Submarine, and to this day, that is my favorite. That is my favorite Beatles song because I learned that song in 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 like kindergarten, and my favorite song that I also learned within I think in kindergarten was My Girl by the Temptations. Um that's another favorite song of mine. Um is My Girl by the Temptations. Also good movie by the way. Um loved My Girl. Sad movie, but good movie. Anywho, when I was 5, right, and I was in school, I I was whenever I had a fruit roll up or fruit by the foot, because they're pretty much the same thing. They're literally the same thing, just in different forms. I would run around the whole school. Also, I have a funny um moment. When I was 5, I there was the we my class, right, at the time, went to the library, right, the school library in the school, and I'm a kindergartner, you know, just having fun. The library teacher had just, like, I don't know, read a book or whatever. I was a big fan of No David and Green Eggs and Ham. I loved those books, which are two different weird books. I mean, they're two different styles of books, right? And I I got into this. I got into. I had this idea, right? Just being the class clown, right? Just having fun. Um, the when I was 5, I stripped down to my little Blues Clues underwear, my Blues Clues undies. That was something. I got spanked for that. I got spanked for that and got sent away because of that. But I had fun. It was fun. Also, I was trying to impress a girl. Um, mostly it was me trying to impress a female classmate of mine at the time. Um, did it work? I'm not 100% sure. But I think it did work. Because I literally got up onto the library table and just started taking off my shirt, um, taking off my pants, taking off my shoes. I I could have gone a little bit further, but I was stopped in my tracks. I, to this day, think I inspired Magic Mike. I I want to say I think legitly I was the first Magic Mike at 5 years old. At 5 years old. And this is a true story. This is a true freaking story. I was 5 years old. 5 years old. Stripping down to my underwear. Now, I was 5 at the time, and I stripped down to my Blue's Clues underwear. Also, when I visited my dad at the time, when me and my siblings would visit my dad for like the weekends and stuff like that, there was this girl I had a crush on. I had a huge crush on this girl who was like older and whatnot. Every time we would play with her and her sister or her sibling and the other kids in my dad's neighborhood, I always wanted to be the Undertaker. I loved the Undertaker. I was obsessed with the Undertaker. Also, when I was 6, I when I turned 6, I had a WWE, or at that time a WWF birthday cake with the Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm I don't have those anymore, but those were my favorite uh, toys to play with. Also, I had a Woody. I loved Woody. Um, Also, I was born in Oklahoma. But I loved Toy Story, and my favorite Toy Story character was Woody. I had a Bonnie doll. I had a I had a Bonnie stuffed animal. I had a Blue's Clues stuffed animal, and the thinking chair when I was really little. And I had a toy Woody. Also, I had a toy Dallas Diamond Page doll that I loved to beat up. I loved to beat that up. Also, I made like my own personal ring, and I remember making my own personal like little ring just to beat up this Dallas Diamond Page doll. I was I was I was in my own world at that time, and I like like um like Snarky J. I too was obsessed with NASCAR. I I when I when I met my grandmother at the age of 3, my mom's mom at the age of 3, that's how I got into NASCAR, because my grandmother was into NASCAR. And I liked it. I really did. Um I just fell out of it, you know. Also, when I was we 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 had lots of pets. One um one of the pets one of the many pets we had um was was a cat named Gizmo. He died when I was in 3rd grade. And my sister Dallas, we named her, we named those cat, we named, because we had gotten a cat out of, but from the Stop and Shop right outside a Stop and Shop. We got those cats. We took them home, and we named them Mary Kate and Ashley. I think that was my sister's thing, because my sister Dallas was obsessed with Mary Kate and Ashley, Mrs. Winterbourne, and babies. Also, my sister Dallas, who I love, um, said that a chicken nugget at McDonald's, she was like maybe 2 or 3 at the time, bit her and or stung her. One of the two stung her. Okay, Dallas. Okay, we had a good laugh. Um, and my sister Dallas also got bit by a turtle we had just found in my in the backyard at the time. And while all that was going on, I was still having paranormal experiences, paranormal activities happen to me. Like, I have had a spirit or ghost or whatever, a, I've had a when when we moved from one apartment building complex to another apartment, there was I had this encounter. Oh, that like a reoccurring encounter with this spirit who would watch me from like the attic and come close and watch me sleep, toss and turn, and touch me in places spirits should not be touching a human. Let's just put it that way. Um, Very uncomfortable when you have a spirit touch you when you're a kid, unwantingly. Um, so yeah, that happened a lot as a kid. Um, and when I and also whenever I got sent away to a children's psychiatric hospital, I would feel supernatural or like spirits watch me. Just straight up watch me in the middle of the night. Like it was creepy, um, and weird, but all true stories. Um, Also, I shared a room with a kid who peed the bed nonstop, constantly. Um, and it was it was crazy. Um, but whenever I had gotten back, I would my go-to thing when I got back after coming back and forth from school, going back and forth from school was TV, and I do mean TV. I would wake up on like Saturday mornings was a ritual. Saturday mornings for me was wake up early, watch some infomercials, maybe watch maybe 2 to 3 hours of infomercials, or maybe an hour of an infomercial. Then watch Saturday morning cartoons. that was my ritual, my Saturday morning ritual, and and from 8 to 9, like from 8 to 9 to 9:30 was was ABC Family, like like Jetix or like Fox Kids, whatever. You know, if there was something good, if there was something I liked on during Saturday morning cartoons, I would watch it. You know, if I didn't want to watch it, I didn't want to watch it. Um, and there were and there were like three competing, maybe four competing kid Saturday morning cartoons. You had Fox for Kids. You had the WB Kids. Um, you had Jetix. Um, all competing for top spots. Top spots for viewers. For viewing. And this was on TV. Like literally on TV. Um, and I would watch, if I didn't want to watch ABC, or if I didn't want to watch Jetix or didn't like what was next on Jetix or coming up on Jetix or Fox Kids or Fox 4 Kids, or yeah, um, I would watch the WB Kids um thing. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Um, and I would watch anything, like anything from Power Rangers to the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Yu-Gi-Oh to Beetleborgs. My cousin was obsessed with Beetleborgs. I I did not like Beetleborgs. I was okay with the Beetleborgs. I was just more of a Power Rangers kind of kid, even though they're they're in the same universe. They're part of the same, you know, world. Um, but I was not your typical kid. Let's put it that way. Um, I I also had a pretty cool second grade teacher, Mrs. Woods, and her assistant. I forget her name, but um, I really enjoyed Mrs. Woods, my second grade teacher's uh class, because she was a good teacher. Also, I've had her kids as substitutes throughout the years. So they were pretty cool. I enjoyed those her kids as substitutes. They no matter what, and I do mean no matter what class needed a substitute, there was always a Woods that I had as a substitute. um, and and I enjoyed those those substitute teachers. I had a blast with a lot of good. I had some good substitute teachers. But yeah. that was pretty much the first 10 years, 12, the first 10 years of my early childhood years, um, before YouTube. Also, before YouTube was a thing, was an actual thing, my siblings, and my cousins would like go on the computer with like the family computer and just play games, play like play like computer games, um, play music, play like watch funny videos, whatever, you know. And that was pretty much it. Like when we didn't want to, when we got bored playing outside, or um got bored playing with our toys or whatever, um we would spend time together on the computer and whatnot, and just have fun. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys so far for right now. Please like, share, subscribe. Have a good day. Thanks. Catch you guys on the flip side. I'm a Footloose. On to the next video.